We're here at Seacourt Gallery in Halifax, Nova Scotia, where owners, Wendy and Phil, absolutely go above and beyond to showcase our local artists. And through their magical marketing, we were able to come together with powerhouse artist Holly Carr. Welcome to Gallery 902.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Holly, I want you to take us through your journey. Where did it start? Sort of that moment when you thought, I'm an artist.
It's actually a long, long time ago. I was never a very good student. And I remember probably grade 3 when we were given our Friday art classes, and I loved them. It was the only thing I lived for. And I think I did like a sculpture of Fred Flintstone, which I don't know if anybody knows that now, that dates me. And I brought it home to my parents, and they were so excited that I, created something that they could recognize. And it was sort of a place I shone. So I was like an art star all through school. And it was a place I got my confidence because I really daydreamed most of the rest of the time I was in school. So my head had lots of colors and pictures, but I could care less about numbers and other things. So
it's so wonderful that your parents were supportive. Yeah. You know, that really helped you to be able to continue your journey. So then what decisions did you make for university?
I had 3 decisions. I was going to go to Katimavik, I was going to study arts, or I was going to go to NASCAD, which is Nova Scotia College of Art and Design and University now, I believe. And I got into NASCAD, which was a thrill.
Huge.
Yeah, it was huge then. There was very few students at that time. It was a very small school and it was hard to get in. And so that sort of paved the way for what I was going to do. I was going to go and study art and try something safe, like be a designer, something I could have a job at the end, because my parents were really frightened because everybody standing outside the school had mohawks with blue hair, and it terrified them, and they're sort of, yeah. So I loved that. That was exciting for me. So that's where I began.
That was a bit of the draw.
That was,
something different.
Exciting and colorful and yeah.
And of course, parents worry about having something stable. They want you to be secure, but still follow your passion. So did your plan go like you thought it would when you started at NASCAD?
No, they never go as they planned, no. My parents, the fact that they supported me and going into that school was amazing. I wouldn't have gone without them standing behind me and saying, yeah, just go for it. No, I studied design. I got into the design program and I made it into the 2nd semester of design. It's a process, and I was so unhappy. There was no computer science. Everything was done by hand. Every little letter, very technical. It was boring. I liked the creative part, but I hated the technical part. And so I ended up leaping out of there into really far out experimental art. And that was a shock. So we were, doing happenings all over the city. And
explain that. What's a happening?
Oh my gosh. So we would, sometimes dress up. Even somebody would have a paper bag over their head. It was really far out things we were doing. And then we would have to go into the street and do these performances. I was super uncomfortable, but I went along with it and met new people.
But that's good, because it pushed you.
Well, it broke me out of where I was. And I knew I wasn't going to stay there, but it was a wonderful place to leap into, to get me creative again and exploring that side of me. And then I thought, well, I think I could be a good teacher. And so I decided to study my art degree, teaching degree, which was also available at NASCAD at the time, along with a Bachelor of Fine Arts. So I could paint and draw and do pottery and explore every medium, because I thought, well, I'll teach them.
So you tried everything.
I tried everything, photography.
You did it all.
I did it all because I thought, well, I wanted to find what excited me. And then I also thought, well, if I'm a teacher, then I'll know how to do all these things.
You're speaking from experience then. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. So then my mother-in-law, then my boyfriend's mother. Yes, explain.
So you started dating.
Started dating, a blonde-haired boy at NASCAD. And he was in printmaking. And we met in an art education class. He also joined the art education program, and through a mutual friend. And so we started dating when we were 20. years old. Yeah.
You were so young.
It was a lot of fun. Naska at that time was just a rabbit warren, and lots of places you could meet up, and there's no computers or cell phones, little paper notes in our mailboxes, and it was very romantic. Yeah.
Oh, it's so romantic.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
And you both had that passion, the same drive. So really how exciting for you to have that extra support as well.
Well, it gave us, common ground. We had lots to talk about. We never were bored. We also loved, we had a lot of similar things we liked. We biking and hiking, going to the valley and all those things.
Yes.
So we had a lot we had a lot of fun together.
But now your art, you had differences there.
It was great though, and it still is, because he's very, high realism. I'm not. But we both appreciate each other's talents.
And you and Alan are able to share a studio space and not kill each other.
No, and
you enjoy it.
You know what's really strange? We have a lot of friends who are couples, and we never thought it was odd that we spend 24/7 together. And we have our own friendships and our own places we go, and I travel a bit for business with my art. But we're pretty much together in a studio, and our very first place we got together was an old beat-off house, and the first thing we did was build a studio, and we had nothing else except for a fridge and a table and a bed. And then our studio was always our place where we hung out and created art. And so every place we moved to, that we built this big studio together, and it never even dawned on us to go separate, which we kind of joke about now. We're like, why didn't we think to take another room? But it just felt normal for us, and
it worked.
Yeah, it totally works. Yeah, we get along very well, have a lot of fun together, and we have our own separate things we're working on, and then come together, have some lunch, and go back to our own spaces. And
I think that's probably why it does work so well, because you are doing different things in that space. But it is incredible that you can do that, because most artists definitely have separate spaces, and I think enjoy that.
Yeah, I think I know they do. We have a lot of friends who are artists. They think we're crazy, but I don't. It's also now we have a very big studio. We've built an addition, and we have, it's 40 feet long. I'm at one end, he's at the other. We could have our own music playing. You can barely hear each other's music, but I can see his painting from where I stand. And often I'll go over and critique. He'll ask me to say, what do you think? And then he'll come over and, and mostly just say, yeah, it looks great, or use orange. He doesn't yet. But it's great. It works really well. Yeah.
So really the evolution of your studio has come a long way.
Oh yeah, our studio now is really nice. It's taken a while to get there. Yeah, views of the North Mountain and trees and nature, which we love to be surrounded by.
Do you think back about that small little space that you started with sometimes? Like the memories, you think, talk back.
Yeah, of course, and but fondly, not in a negative way. Yeah, it's how it's grown. We've had, like on our property, for instance, we have a loop. And there's this loop, it's about 11 acres, our property. And we walk the loop pretty much every day, at least in the morning or night. And we started walking it together, and we would talk about our dreams of what we wanted to accomplish, or, what this, or building a studio and doing this. And then I was pregnant with a baby, and we had a puppy, and it was just like, and there was 2 kids, and there was teenagers dragging them around the loop.
And you're still walking.
Yeah, it's like our life loop, and it's the story of our lives. And so when we walk it, it just all feels good.
Holly, this is so incredible. You've brought your imagination into our studio today. I'm so excited. Can we start with your book?
Yes.
Light in the Forest.
Light in the Forest. This is one piece of the Light in the Forest project. And this is a children's book, and every part of Light in the Forest, I'll show you, I'll open it up, starts in the dark.
Oh.
And then it takes you into the light. So I'm going to show you a little bit more. So here you are in the dark. There's all those spooky eyes glowing in the dark.
So this is really like facing your fear here.
That's right. And each pair of eyes gets revealed throughout the book. So the first eyes you see are the ravens. And now you see with those red eyes.
Yeah,
it's not
scary.
too creepy, a little bit scary because it's in the dark.
Yes.
But then when you say, I am not afraid, then you see them in the daylight.
Oh.
And so now the ravens with their babies in the sunlight and other birds around them, but there's always a fear lurking in there. So that fear, and so by the time you get through all of the eyes, you faced lots of fears, and you made your way into the light through the wolf and the owl, and all the eyes are revealed. and there's the bear. And then all of a sudden they're all back. And now you see, this looks really frightening. There's all these really scary animals, but it says, do not be afraid.
So now this is sort of you facing your fear.
That's right, you're facing fear. And all these are pieces all through the book. You'll see that's the puzzle of the dark world, and this is the puzzle of the light world.
Oh,
and then it says, there is light in the forest, and you are not alone. And so all of those joys, all those lights, you made it through the book. Now you get to experience them all together.
And looking right now, I can see some of your paintings, the bear, the fawn, the hare, like
deer,
I can see.
and the baby kits right there. And
your
there's
showcase
wolf.
pieces are here.
That's right. And these are, all of these animations, they all became, this was sort of the beginning, and they all came from the book and the idea of going from dark into the light. The theater pieces, everything.
I have to ask you, Holly, this piece, when you were originally doing it, was on your floor and you just worked a little bit at a time?
It's on a table,
Okay.
and this is 10 feet by about 4 feet. And I work from my imagination. I started at this end, and I just worked my way across drawing
It just
and
came to you.
imagining it, how the forest would look. And then I painted it piece by piece. And you can't make mistakes because you can't erase. So I was very proud when I finished this piece and it looked the way it does. Because otherwise, if you ruin one thing, you have to start all over again. So this brings me a lot of joy.
This one picture, that's for you, this is powerful. This is so much. This is a small scale that we're seeing, but
Yeah, all of my work's quite large,
it's incredible.
So, and even these little paintings around me are studies for the original animations, which are double the size. So.
And the last page is sort of a little seek and find almost.
That's right.
We grew up with those. Yeah.
Yes, so I have lots of animals besides the main 8. So, and they're all North American animals. So I have little numbers, and you can go and find them and go back and look for them like a little puzzle if you have a partner to work with and look back through.
That's incredible.
Yes,
You should be so proud. Like,
I am so proud. I am to finish it. And this book actually became one of the top books for the Children's Book Center in Toronto for Spring 21. So that was very exciting for me. Yeah, it's an accomplishment.
well, we're excited you're sharing it with us.
Thank you.
Now, something that really goes with this book is this beautiful interactive piece that you built. Please explain it to us, and then we'll give a little demonstration.
Thank you. This is one of a few we've made, and these are dream boxes, and they really didn't have a purpose except that I had this vision, and I just wanted to create this thing. So.
Now, when you say we, did
I'll
Alan or
explain.
your son?
Yes, because I drew it and designed it and had the sounds worked out, and my partner, Alan, who you've met, he actually built this little wooden box for me. And you'll see the magic that happens. So all the insides I've created, but the sound was actually created by Ian McKay, and he's an amazing maker who actually helped me with all the electronics. So, and helped me create the magic that I sort of envisioned, and I just had to supply him with sounds, and he put them in here for me.
You just had the right team to bring it all up.
I'm surrounded by really creative, wonderful people.
Love it.
Yeah.
Let's give it to
Want to open it up and
I'm
see
so
what it is?
excited. I'm very
Okay,
excited.
so and if you think of this is like the cycle. It's sort of like light in the forest, too, dark and light, but it's also a cycle of life, and through a raven is mostly. And I'll explain a little once we get up there. But if you want to open up the first little box and see what happens. You hear the raven and the little nest that's in there. Takes you away. All of my Light in the Forest projects have nature sounds. That little knocking, we'll go visit there in a minute. Let me open the next door.
You really need to just close your eyes.
You see the little egg starts to glow? There's a little light inside. Something's knocking. Maybe we'll just open it just to see.
This is incredible.
And that's a raven skull. And that's to remind you of what the future holds and how to enjoy all of this part. It's just a cycle. Let him go one more time. Goodbye, raven. Go back, go back. In.
So slow down the moments
Yes.
and enjoy.
And have a little bit of romance.
Oh,
Yeah. These are actually winter constellations. They're hard to see in this light, but they light up to the actual winter sky.
this is magical.
Just another place. She's still
The
knocking.
reminder again.
He's not going to let you forget.
I cannot believe that together, the three of you, this is so powerful. So you, in your mind, you thought this up. And Ian really, I mean, Alan, of course, construction. But how did Ian just choose the right?
Well, I actually picked the sounds and everything.
You did.
And so, very purposeful.
Yes.
And then he actually hooked up the electronics for me to create, so that we could create the magic when you open the
Because
door.
it's almost like a music box.
That's what it's meant to
sound
be,
Yes,
yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it. It really takes you back.
Yeah, a music box
Definitely.
that reminds you of the past and the future,
Just
but to live in the present.
incredible how many children that this would be an experience for, and magical, and maybe help them to be able to actually talk.
Well, that's what the whole project is for.
Because sometimes they can't find the words.
It is, and Light in the Forest, even when you're talking about what you're afraid of, what you're not, and how you can overcome it. You know, this is what my son suffered from for many years as a young fellow, and especially around the dark. And so we talked about animals, forest animals, and always looking for the light. And so that's where the project began, and now it's helping other people.
So Holly,
Yeah.
give us a little explanation, like history on how the song came to be that you paint to.
Okay, so the song kept playing in my head, this idea. And so we were on our way to Toronto, dropping our daughter off at U of T. And I started singing. It was very hard, actually.
Yes, yes.
That's a whole other story. And so we were singing. I was singing it to these guys. They were kind of making fun of me. But then they got in on it and were actually brainstorming a bit with me. So they have actually helped out with the song. And when we got back, I took it to a good friend of mine, Paula Rockwell, who's a musician. And I sang it to her, and she figured out the chords on the piano. And then she arranged it for a choir. And I could hear children singing it. So I went to Heather Fraser, who directed the Valley Youth Honor Choir, because they are amazing. And she was on board. And so we had 50 children singing the arrangement to this song. And now we have a professional recording we use in shows, and sometimes they come to the show. Yeah.
That must be so incredible for them as well.
Thrill, yeah. And they've been now part of a few shows, and just seeing all those little faces up there holding their candles and singing, it's beautiful. Yeah.
It's incredible. So
Moving.
we are going to listen to the children singing now.
Yep.
The lyrics sort of made by your family.
Absolutely.
Really.
They incorporate their ideas.
And we're getting to experience what people see at the show. You
Yes.
painting to it.
Yes, absolutely. So it's Light in the Forest. Okay.
Close the roof house, my
It's amazing. That was amazing. I can't believe the scale that must be, the feeling, and holding the candles. I wanted a candle.
Yeah, so the children coming out and singing, and yeah.
That's a lot of work, and you're just doing this tiny
Well, I was going next,
portion.
trying to time it, but it's yeah, it's moving. When the kids sang it was the dead of winter, and we went in to hear them rehearse. And I brought a couple of girlfriends, and we all, including the parents, sat there and cried.
Yes,
Because we were all in the middle of COVID, you know, and we're all feeling it, and yeah, so it was pretty beautiful.
Oh my gosh, yes,
And not to be afraid, and that things are going to be okay. Yeah, so I've got to work with the youth orchestra.
Their gentle little voices just pull that emotion out of you.
And the orchestra comes up after, you know, when they're in shows, and they're listening, and they're saying how much it means to them to be a part of something like that. So it's been really wonderful. Lots of layers.
Incredible. The silk, I was just watching how it goes, and
It bounces, yeah, which I love. And when I do giant pieces, the whole silk goes like this, whoosh, whoosh, like that. And so if I'm doing 30 feet, as I hit here, it goes like this, the whole way down. So with a symphony, it just feels like it's alive, like the orchestra. I just pretend I'm conducting. It's so much fun.
And you just go with it.
Yeah, I just totally go with it. Just make it up and let it go. And it just comes. And I like the bounce instead of just something stiff. So it's good. Yeah.
Holly, this was such a gift that you gave us, all of us
Thank
this
you.
evening. Thank you so much. And I was right. What a powerhouse you are.
I'll take it. Not all the time, but I'll take anything. Yeah, thank you.
It means
Very
the world.
kind. Thanks. That was a lot of fun. Thank you.